Hey everyone, so in this video, I'm going to share 30 ways that you can save money in this year. So these are 30 practical tips. I'm going to list off all of them right here. Let's go ahead and get started with this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. So the first tip for saving money is utilize the 24-hour rule. Essentially, anytime that you're making a purchase over $100, sleep on it, think about it for 24 hours before you go and buy it. This helps to avoid spontaneous purchases that maybe later you'll have buyer's remorse or regrets. So just take that 24 hours and spend it to think about whether or not you're going to actually buy that item. And then if you still want to buy it after that 24-hour span, then you can go through and purchase that item. Using this 24-hour rule has saved me a ton of money over the long run. The second tip is to plan every meal for the week. Look, if you meal prep and you plan the meal, this is going to help you to avoid having to make too many decisions whenever you get hungry. So plan your dinners, plan your lunch, maybe even plan your breakfast for the next week, and you're going to save so much money because you're not going to have to go out and eat out, or you're not going to have to take as many trips to the grocery store whenever you get hungry. So very great and important tip right there. Tip number 3 for saving money, wear the same clothes every day. Now, I don't mean like actually wear the same exact t-shirt every day. I mean just simplify your style. So if you watch my videos over the past 4 or 5 years, I wear the same black shirt every day, black pants, and of course, I have a couple things that I'll throw on top of that as sort of like to add a little bit of touch to it, but for the most part, I wear the same style clothes every day, kind of like a cartoon character, and this ends up saving a ton of money. So simplify your style. You don't have to have 200 different shirts, and honestly, most people don't care. Most people just care about how they look themselves. They don't even really notice that I wear like the same black t-shirt as a base layer every single day and black pants. So that's a great tip right there that you can use. Another tip here is haircuts. Look, I think at one point at some year, I was spending like $40 per month on haircuts, added up to about $500 a year on haircuts. Once the pandemic began, I realized I can just cut my own hair. And so I saved probably $500 a year by cutting my hair myself. Or sometimes if I can't reach a certain part of my head, I'll just get one of my friends to help me do that, and it'll end up saving you some money there. And that goes especially actually for men who, if you have a simple haircut as well, like mine's pretty simple, I can just do this myself in the mirror in like 15 minutes, and it's really, really easy to do. So another great way to save money is to auto withdraw money from your bank into your investment accounts. So for example, you could use something like Moomoo, which you can invest into the stock market, and when you do this, you'll have money auto withdrawn. You can do this on like a weekly basis, or every time your paycheck comes in, you can have money coming out of there, going into your trading account, your investment account, and so it makes things a lot easier. You don't really have to think about it. It just automatically does that. So there's a little Moomoo plug here. If you want to get 5 free stocks when you sign up for this investing app, you can check out the link down below in the description. Had to just include that there because it's, it fits so well of auto investing and just having your money auto withdrawn so that you don't even have to think about it. Now, another thing that you can do to save money is to think about organic food and which ones are kind of a waste and which ones are important. So, of course, health is extremely important. I like to eat certain organic foods, but realize that not all organic foods are really going to be worth your money. And so my rule of thumb here is that any type of fruit or vegetable that has a thick peel or skin on it that I'm not going to be eating, I tend to not get organic. So, for example, like avocados, bananas, coconuts, things where you're not eating the skin. A lot of those tend to be okay if you just get regular and not organic. So basically my point here is that not everything has to be organic. You can save money on that. Versus like apples, I would rather have organic apples because I'm eating the skin. That's a rule of thumb. There's actually some great charts that break this down on like what are the best vegetables to get that are not organic. You can save money on those, whereas some you might want to get. Okay, the next tip here is get a library card. Nobody uses a library. I've been saying this for like 4 years on this channel. Get a library card. They have so much more than just books. They have movies. They have all kinds of different things, computers, right, internet, and of course, books as well, study guides, so many different things from your local library, and it's all going to be free. So please just go to your library, ask them what they have. You're going to be surprised. Sometimes they have some crazy rentals that you can get. You can rent computers, you can rent like all kinds of electronics, cameras you can rent from my local library. So they have so many resources that people do not take advantage of. Just go check out your local library. I don't think you're going to regret it. Okay, so another tip here, no shopping when you're hungry. This is a huge rule of thumb for me. I'm not going to go to the grocery store on an empty stomach because when I do that, I end up spending twice as much money on food because I'm hungry. So everything looks good. Oh, Hot Pockets, yes, please, right? I'll go and just grab everything because I'm just so hungry. So make sure that you go to the grocery store after you've eaten a nice meal, especially a healthy meal, and you're going to feel really good about that and not spend nearly as much money at the grocery store once you are full. Here's another great tip for you. Think about laundry detergent and getting the laundry detergent that is powdered rather than like the Tide Pods. It's interesting if you look at the history of laundry detergent, it used to be all powder. Then eventually they invented like the liquid laundry detergent, which they realized they could make more money off of. And now they have Tide Pods or like laundry pods, which they make even more money off of selling to you as a consumer. So if you realize this and you look at the actual value, the powdered version of laundry detergent tends to be the most bang for your buck, and it's honestly the same thing. They just, make it look prettier and cooler in these Tide Pods. So skip the pods and just go for something like the powdered detergent, and that goes for a lot of soap as well. I get a lot of bar soap rather than getting like 30 different types of soaps in my bathroom. I'll just have maybe a couple of different types and then bar soap, which you're getting a lot more value from as a whole. All right, the next tip here, eat less meat. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to become a vegetarian, but statistically speaking, meat costs more money than other types of protein, plant protein. So, like I said, you don't have to become a vegetarian, but if you consider cutting down on meat maybe a little bit and having it only like once per week or twice per week rather than having like a steak every single night, you're going to see a massive cost reduction in your food expenses if you just eat less meat. And of course, you could just become a complete vegetarian as well. That's totally up to you. I'm not going to judge people if they are or are not. That's totally up to you if you want to do that, but it is going to save you money if you cut down on the amount of meat that you eat. Just make sure that you're still getting all of your nutrients. All right, another tip here, cut down on subscriptions. There are so many subscriptions out there right now that so many people have. Netflix, Amazon, like Hulu, Disney Plus, like I could name off probably a dozen different subscriptions that most families have, and sometimes they don't even really use them very much. So I don't use Netflix very often. I don't use Spotify very often either. So those are some things that I actually decided to cut out because I just don't really use them. Now there are some that, of course, you can decide if you want, and maybe you could even get on the family plans for some of those. Like, for example, Apple Music, you can just hop on a family plan with some friends or your family and save a lot of money rather than just everybody getting their own subscription. So just go through your credit card bills, go through your bank account bills, look at your subscriptions and see what can you cut, what do you really not use, what are you not getting that value out of, and then just go and slash that. The next tip is to change your own oil and fix your car yourself. Vehicles are very, very expensive, and I was shocked when I learned how many people actually pay others to change their oil, to change the fluids in their vehicle, to change their tire. You can do a lot of this yourself. I've been doing this my entire life, and it really does save a lot of money. Now, of course, today I guess I could go and I could pay somebody to change my oil, but I still do it myself. It's just so simple and it's so easy for me to do it. And it, honestly, from the time that it would take me to drive to the mechanic, have them change the oil, and then drive it back, I could probably just change the oil myself in like 15 minutes. So that's just what I do. Learn about your car a little bit. Like just the other week, I basically like hot-wired my car because I had to get somewhere and I lost my keys. It's a whole story, but either way, it's, if you learn about vehicles, you're going to save a lot of money overall. So just spend some time, learn about your car. It's not a magical box that just drives you somewhere. Understand the functions of it, and you're going to save a lot of money from that. Here's another great tip for you is cut your phone bill, slash it by just choosing some providers that are going to be a lot cheaper. I think of Mint Mobile, for example. I think they're like $15 a month. So if you're right now spending like $60 or $80 or $100 per month on your phone bill, you are getting scammed. So you can get a phone bill from Mint Mobile, and they're not sponsoring this. I'm just talking about them because I have a lot of friends who have them for really cheap, $15, $20 a month, maybe $25 a month. I don't think anybody should be paying more than $35 to $40 per month for their phone bill in 2022. There's just so many options out there for some pretty inexpensive amounts. So the next tip here is to stop spending money on sales. I can't believe how many people will look at sales and they'll say, well, it's on sale, it's 30% off, and then they'll go buy something for $200, that's 30% off. Okay, well, maybe you saved 30%, but realistically, $200 just left your wallet. You ended up spending more money than what you would have otherwise. So try not to fall for the trap of sales. There's a reason why a lot of businesses have sales, because they know that they make money off of them, right? They push their product, they sell their product a lot more, and they have money flowing in the door. So be careful with sales. I really rarely rarely fall for them. I used to really, scout a lot of sales, clip coupons, all that other stuff. And I just think a lot of it is not really worth it unless you were already planning on buying it beforehand. But don't let those sales, make you decide, oh yeah, now I suddenly need this product because it's 30% off. So another tip here for you is to just remember that store brand is going to be better off than name brand for most food products and most products in general. In a lot of cases, sometimes they're even made in the same factory. So like if you get mini wheats, frosted mini wheats, or you just get, store brand wheats that are frosted. It's basically the same thing in most cases, like except for Pop-Tarts and Oreos. I have to say that the store brands are not as good as the name brands. But for the most part, with food, you can just get the store brand instead of name brand and save a lot of money. So instead of getting Kellogg, you can just get like Walmart brand cereal, and it's the same thing in my opinion. All right, this one's gonna really, really trigger some people, but it's to quit caffeine. Caffeine can cost a lot of money. I know people who love coffee, they drink it every day. No problem with that. But if you want to save some money and you're hooked on caffeine, then maybe consider cutting down on it so that you don't have any type of dependence on caffeine. And I know I totally triggered some people there, but it's true, because it happened to me in the past where I would get on these coffee hooks and I would just need my coffee every morning when I would wake up, and if I didn't have it, I would have to go out and buy it. If I was traveling or something, I would just have to go out and buy that coffee, and it can certainly add up, especially if you're on a tight budget and you want to save some money. Then consider cutting caffeine because then you cut that dependence from coffee or tea or whatever else you feel like you might need at the moment. Now, of course, you don't have to do every one of these tips. These are just a bunch of different ideas. So if you say, no, screw that, I'm always going to drink coffee, that's okay. All right. These are just concepts and ideas for people. So not coming at you here with the coffee thing. Okay. So another one here is to consider just starting a garden in your backyard. So my brother does this. He just did this last summer, and he has so many tomatoes. Like he still has them, and it's January, right? And so he froze a lot of them, canned a lot of them, and a lot of his vegetables that he grew in the summer, he's still eating today. 4 or 5 months later. So he saves probably, I would guess, at least hundreds of dollars because he has a garden in his backyard. It's not even that big of a garden, but it works, and it saves him minimum a few $100s per year. Okay, another great tip here. Look, you got to track your expenses and your income. You can do this with a lot of different apps like Mint or Truebill or even Excel spreadsheets. I use Excel spreadsheets to track my budget and to track my expenses and my income and everything else. So just do this. Sit down, do this. You can do this on Truebill. It's super simple, super easy to set up. And that way you'll know, are you net positive, net negative every month? You have more money coming in or more money going out on a monthly basis. It makes the picture so much more clear, and it's going to help you to get ahead with your budget. Here's another great tip for you is gym memberships. Look, a lot of people have gym memberships and they don't use them. So if you're using it every day, keep it, right? Use it. It's money well spent. Health is extremely important. But you need to analyze, hey, if you have a gym membership and you've only been there twice this month and you're paying $50 or $100 for it, maybe you should just go to your local park and work out there rather than spending all that money on a gym membership that you might not even use. So if you're using it all the time, great. If you're not using it that often, run the numbers. How much does it cost per trip for you to go to the gym? If you're paying $100 per month and you go to the gym 4 times per month, that effectively is $25 per trip to the gym that it's costing you. That doesn't make a lot of sense. You're probably better off just botching that, scratching that, and going and working out, at home or at your local park or something else like that. So gym memberships, they can actually end up costing you a lot of money. So another one, food delivery. Look, don't even have those apps on your phone if you're trying to save money. I've downloaded Uber Eats too many times. I'm a culprit of this. I really am. I'll download it, and once it's on my phone, it's just so easy to just tap a couple things on my phone, and somebody shows up at my door with food. It costs so much money. Not only are you eating out from those places that you're ordering from, but you have to pay a delivery fee. You're probably going to add a tip on top of that. There's service fees, all kinds of other fees that pile in, and then taxes. And it ends up being you get a burger on Uber Eats, and you think it's going to be $10. It turns out being $25. So just get rid of those food delivery apps and go back to what I said with meal planning. Just plan every dinner for the upcoming week, and you're not going to have to worry about ordering food with a food delivery app. Okay, so here's another one for you. Cut alcohol. You don't have to do this. Once again, I was talking about how these are 30 ideas, 30 concepts, but you don't have to do this if you don't want to. But cutting alcohol is going to save you a lot of money and probably a lot of regrets, from doing stupid things. But you can just cut down on alcohol. I haven't cut out alcohol entirely, but I don't really drink very often, or if I do, I'll only have like 1 or 2 drinks. And so this saves a lot of money for me. I don't really do it for the actual money saving purpose, but I think if I did, it would definitely, I would look at it and be like, wow, I didn't spend $200 this weekend at a bar because I just, drank water or like a soda or something else instead of that, and saved a ton of money. And if you are going to drink, maybe just consider, like, for example, let's say that you wanted to have 4 drinks over the course of a night. Maybe just drink most of those, like, with your friends, like at home or something, and then maybe like 1 out at the bar, so that you time it properly, so that you're not drinking like 6 $10 drinks at the bar or something and spending all that money when you could just do it for a lot cheaper, like with your friends in a backyard. I don't know. These are just some ideas that I'm throwing out here. Another one here, look, ditch the dryer. So you have a washer, maybe you have a dryer. Dryers are really expensive because of the energy that they consume, because they have to heat up the clothes and they're tumbling it, right? But the heater element of that can be really expensive and it costs you a lot for your electric bill. So especially if it's sunny outside and it's a nice day, just get a clothesline. Like literally just get a rope or even like some thick string. You can probably buy it for $1 at your dollar store. Buy it, tie it from one tree to another, and just hang up your clothes that way over the course of a year. I don't know how much money you would save from that. I would guess maybe like $50, but I think more so you're helping the environment as well from just not wasting energy on something like that. So you're not gonna save a ton, but it's still gonna be worth it. Next one, you already know what's coming. It's bottled water. I think it's the biggest just hoax in the world. Bottled water, people spend so much money on it. You go to the store, you spend like $2 on a bottle of water. It's plastic. It's no good for the world anyway. But like if I added up how much people probably spend on bottled water over the course of a year, it's probably like $1,000 for a lot of people. So unless you live in like Flint, Michigan, or some place where your water is just absolutely terrible, I would suggest, use tap water or just get a nice filter, like a nice Brita filter. Or I even had one that was like super heavy duty, filtered out like lead and everything else. I think I paid $50 for it, and I've never bought a bottle of water since then. Well, I can't say that. I've bought a couple bottles here and there, but for the most part, I really try to avoid them. Just get a water bottle, refillable one. You're going to save so much money from doing that. Here's another tip for you. Use something like Goodwill or thrift stores. Whenever I do buy clothes, like for example, this shirt right here, I think I just bought this from a thrift shop somewhere when I was out in Colorado last year. And because, why not? I probably paid like a few dollars for it. I don't really want to go and get new clothes that are, gonna like support more factories and everything else, when I can just get something that is probably gonna get thrown out anyway if nobody else buys it. So saves a lot of money. And also I think it's good for the environment as well if you just repurpose clothes and you buy something like that. The next one is to cut your financial advisor. Look, I'm not a financial advisor, okay? But you need to look at, if you have a financial advisor, how much you are paying that person. Because I was shocked when I found out that some people are paying their advisor 1% of their portfolio to just move their money around and put it into index funds, something you probably could have done yourself anyway if you just read a couple of investing books. So, I have a pretty harsh view on this, but I don't really think most people need financial advisors. I just think that they're just sucking money off in a lot of cases. And, if you are going to hire one, ask them, have they beaten the market? Have they outperformed the market? What are they actually going to do to help you with that? And in a lot of cases, from my experience, I think a lot of financial advisors don't really statistically outperform the market much better than somebody could do themselves. So if you're paying a large fee, if you're paying like 1% or 0.5%, I think you can just do it yourself. So that's what I believe there. Here's another tip for you, is to borrow instead of buy. For a lot of things, you just don't need to buy them. Like, for example, if I need to get a hedge trimmer, right? If I have some hedges and like some bushes and I want to trim those, I could go out and I could buy like a trimmer at Lowe's or Home Depot for like $150, or I could just borrow it from my neighbor, right? Or I could just ask somebody in the neighborhood or a friend or a family member, hey, do you have a hedge trimmer I could just borrow for the day? Like, I'll, get you some like whatever, I'll give you a couple bucks for it, or, just nice friendly neighbors will probably just lend it to you, right? And you save a lot of money. And then when they need a favor, you just help them out a little bit. So save a lot of money that way of just borrowing instead of buying every single thing that you need. So A couple more on this list. One of them is to utilize your retirement plans and to utilize something like your IRA. So there's some retirement plans in some cases where you can end up paying less tax today. You might have a bigger tax bill later on down the road, but you can pay less tax today if you set up like a traditional IRA account. And so you can lower your tax bill for this year, and it saves you money in the short run. Long run, you might have a bigger tax bill, but if you're trying to save money in the short run, then that is certainly an idea for you. Okay, here's probably one of the most important things that I'm going to mention in this video, and this is a way to save money a lot, and it's just to say no. Just say no to a lot of things that come up. Become a no person. You don't have to say yes to everything, right? So when I have people call me up and say, Nate, do you want to go out to like the bars tonight, or do you want to go on this vacation with us right now, or do you want to go do this, that, right? There's some cases where I just say, I really need to save some money this month. No. So don't be afraid to say no to some things. You still want to have fun in life, but it's okay to say no. Don't be afraid to do that. You're going to save a lot of money that way. So 3 more here on this list. One of them is to stop using vitamins, stop eating them like every day. So there's a lot of studies on this actually, but my opinion on this, and of course, I'm not a doctor, okay? So talk to your doctor about this. But I think a lot of like multivitamins and stuff are not really necessary if you are eating a balanced diet. So I've stopped buying vitamins. I think that they're just not really that useful. Like if you're getting a balanced diet already, your body should already be like self-regulating and saying, all right, well, we've gotten enough of this one type of nutrient, and we've gotten enough of this one. So your body typically takes care of itself if you're eating a pretty well-balanced diet. But of course, who am I? Just a guy on the internet, so don't listen to me too much here. So 2 more here. One of them is to get smarter with your energy usage. So growing up, we didn't have air conditioners in our house. So in the summer, it got pretty warm out, but maybe we would just have like a fan or something. We didn't have air conditioners. I think it's because my parents just wanted to save money. But you get used to it. You acclimate, right? And in the winter, I don't think it was very warm in our house. We had a wood stove, but you acclimate. You get used to it. Oh, 60 degrees. It was fine, right? We didn't need it to be exactly 72 degrees at all times. So I think this is really a tip for people who are like really, really on a budget and trying to save money. You can probably get away with cutting some costs on energy. Okay, and the final tip here for you is one that I shared a couple years ago, and it is to consider ditching your car, getting rid of your car. Now, I know it's not practical for a lot of people, but you have to understand something, that in the United States, the 3 largest expenses for people today, it's housing, it's transportation, and it's food. And the transportation cost averages out to be over $8,000 per year that people spend on their vehicles. There's so much money that goes into cars, right? It's not just your lease payment. It's not just your car payment to whoever lent you the money to buy the car, right? It adds up to a lot more than just that. It's gasoline. It's electricity for your car. It's insurance. It's wear and tear, the depreciation on vehicles. There are so many factors that go into vehicle expenses that if you can afford to cut your car, like if you live in a city and you don't use your car very often, I would consider getting rid of it because you're going to save a lot of money. This is for people who really want to save a lot of money. Trust me, you're going to save so much money if you get rid of your car. Now, of course, that's not feasible for a lot of people, right? A lot of people need to drive 10, 15 miles somewhere. That's understandable. But if you can swap your car for a bike and you're fortunate enough to be in a city or something where you can do that, then I would really consider doing it to see a huge, significant difference in your budget for 2022. So thanks for watching the video. I hope some of these tips were valuable for you. I hope you're able to use some of them. Go ahead, if you want to get 5 free stocks on Moomoo, you can check out that link down below in the description. I don't think you want to miss out on that. And I will see everybody in next week's video.